Good day. My name is Sonia Mattia. I'm from the Department of Conservation Ecology and Entomology here at Stellenbosch University. Now the question is, why conservation ecology? Hoekom bewaringsecologie? We all know the world is in a crisis. The human population size has escalated in the last century, and there's ever-growing pressure on our natural resources. The 2018 Global Risk Report of the World Economic Forum lists climate change as one of the biggest risks. Several other of the largest risk factors listed in this report is in some other way related to climate change. So the implication is that it's becoming more and more likely that extreme weather events and natural disasters will be part of our future. The impact is, or the consequences on the human livelihoods is going to be quite catastrophic. We also anticipate water and also food crises. We all know what's happened in the recent years with extreme bushfires in Australia, cyclones and droughts in Africa, and not too long ago, the Western Cape province was facing day zero in terms of water availability. We need to mitigate the risks as well as the impacts by having a serious concerted effort with conserving biodiversity, ecosystems, and also the processes that they maintain. We all know South Africa is well known for biodiversity, but also for our conservation initiatives. But only 8% of our global or our country's surface area is designated for conservation. We need to increase our conservation footprint, and there are obviously several ways. The South African National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan lists several key factors or key aims. The first is expanding protected areas. The next one is increased monitoring in biodiversity. And then further, large parts of the country have been prioritized for the rollout of this action plan, where basically it should be implemented. But is this enough? Well, in reality, no. We need to adopt and promote conservation-friendly practices in our daily lives in all utilized landscapes. Now, what is a utilized landscape? That is a farm, it's a city where we live, it's our schools, it's our house where we stay, but it's also large production areas where the solar plants are being put up. We need to actively be conscious with what we are doing and our practices and how that impact nature. So it's therefore also fitting that the department has conservation in utilized landscapes as the motto. Looking at the program Conservation Ecology. The program started in conservation. The Conservation Ecology program started in 2002. Then it was known as a BSc in forestry with nature conservation, and it was then presented in the Faculty of Forestry. However, the interest and the need grew so much that the program itself is standing independently currently independently in the AgriScience faculty. Because we want to keep quality training, and that's one of our core functions, we are capping the student intake at 60 first-year students a year. And the Conservation Ecology program is the core undergraduate offering within the Department of Conservation Ecology and Entomology. The aim is also then of the program to train the young and upcoming, basically the future generation of conservation practitioners. The department, as well as the program, is led by a diverse and a dynamic team of academic staff. It's the first two rows on your slide. And then in the green bar at the bottom, our research associates that are funded by industry. We are all very passionate about our research. We all vary in terms of research that we are doing. Research range from insect diversity, conservation, insect physiology, restoration ecology, riparian zones. So it's quite a broad and diverse field that we are focusing on in the department. And over the years, several of our staff members have received accolades, both at local, regional, and international platforms for the research that we are doing. And we pride ourselves, and that's one of our aims, that excellence in research that's relevant to real-life scenarios is a basis for quality teaching and training, because you can only give quality training if you're actually talking with experience and you have the knowledge of what's currently taking place in the workplace or in the world in this case. Looking at the course content, now this is a 4-year degree, the program. Okay, the first year, when you come to campus, you are going to start with a generic BSc first year that is offered in the Faculty of Natural Sciences. Now, the typical modules for our students is biology, chemistry, geo-environmental science, computer, and mathematics. In this first year, we're not going to see much of you. So you're not going to come really to the department because the university in this program, this generic BSc, it's basically a pool of first years that are registered in different programs that are all sharing the same facilities and need the same foundation. So you'll share the classes with people from animal science, food science, and also other programs within the department, or rather the Faculty of Natural Sciences. However, from your second year on, it's become progressively more focused. You're going to have more and more conservation-related modules, and this is where the interest that you would then obviously have would grow more and more. The fourth year is the most fun, and it's also the most interesting because you would be able to select modules that's more in line with your research interest or your own passion. What I need to tell you about this fourth year is that it is quite academically challenging. You need to finish or basically pass your modules. In addition, you need to conduct a mini research project. And this research project you can choose basically in any conservation-related field that you're interested in. You can do it on water, biodiversity, sort of macroinvertebrates in water. You can do a marine type project. You can do a terrestrial project. You can, in my case, you can catch rodents and look at their parasites. So you can basically do anything in terms of research. This is the fourth year, is a professional year, so it's the equivalent of a BSc Honours, so you don't need to apply and qualify separately. You can immediately go into an MSc, and this is different from a student doing a BSc in Natural Sciences. They need to finish their third year, and then only they go on and do basically apply for Honours year. In this program, there's no need. Immediately after qualifying with your graduating with your fourth year, you can either go directly into the workplace, or you can remain at university and specialize further in your specific field. You can register in our department for MSc or other related departments, say botany and zoology or environmental sciences that's offered on campus. But also several other universities like UCT and Pretoria University readily accepts our students in their undergraduate, rather postgraduate program. I also just quickly want to mention that a couple of our students that graduated with this program even went further and created novel niche markets for them. They took up a law degree, so then you can do like environmental law. There's students that did journalism after this, so you can do like environmental or conservation related journalism. And there's also a student that went on and did a diploma in engineering. So this is quite interesting, and you mustn't just think you have to do just purely conservation. You can mix and match with different diverse skills, and this can open really special, unique situations and job opportunities for you. You must please know there's two programs offered at the university that's got a botany and zoology foundation. The first one on the left is a BSc in biodiversity and ecology that's offered in the natural sciences. Now, the typical modules in this program is very much your traditional botany and zoology. So you'll have a very strong foundation in terms of animals or plants. This is different from our program. Our program also has botany and zoology modules, but in addition, our students take other environmental related modules. And we use this information in the practical sense, so how to apply that to solve problems. And this is what sets us basically different from the BSc in the BDE program. So I see our program as conservation in action, using that information and actually doing something with it in a practical sense. So conservation ecologists are typically involved and working in different, or typically involved in mitigating effects of people on the environment in all systems. You can work from government, private, independent NGOs, so different sectors of the work scenario or themes, but also the main focus in utilized landscapes. So agriculture, advising farmers with sustainable water use or sustainable pest control, urban areas looking at waste plant management or even city development, forestry working for companies like Mondi to set aside large corridors between plantation blocks to increase biodiversity. In the mining sector, working with restoring transformed or disturbed habitat to its natural state. And then also a large part of conservation ecologists is basically conserving biodiversity. You only can conserve biodiversity if you know what you have. So biodiversity monitoring is also quite an important part. And at the end of the day, the aim is preserving ecosystem functioning. So what are your employment options? What's the typical jobs? Examples is environmental impact practitioners working for private NGOs, and these people typically survey natural areas prior to development. So you would go out and assess the conservation importance of this patch. If there's critical species that's occurring nowhere else, then you can say no, there shouldn't be development taking place. So it's basically going out and assessing what's the conservation status or importance of an area before major programs or development takes place in that area. I've already mentioned restoration ecology, working for the mining or the forestry industry, where you would basically work with the mines on specific parts of the company's premises and basically rehabilitating that area to its natural state. You can work for private and also municipal governmental reserves as field ecologists, so basically maintaining biodiversity and also the integrity of the landscape. Working as a researcher for private or state laboratories and carrying on with research in the field, or in the lab. Technical advisors as a private consultant or also as for a large food producing company. This is quite important in terms of pest control. Environmental officer for NGOs, where you would advise local communities that's very dependent on the natural resources to harvest in a more sustainable way. We also have another aspect that's quite important for us and that distinguishes us from other related departments on campus or programs, but also other universities, is our linkage with industry. We've got a win-win situation with local industry partners where they actually come to our campus, to our department, and we advise them with regard to issues that they experience. We also set out projects to research these problems and come up with a solution. And in exchange, they often fund the projects, provide bursaries, and several of our students have ended up working for these industries. Just shortly, where are our alumni? We've got a dedicated Facebook page for our students that have graduated, so we keep contact with them. And what we do from our side, we also regularly post job opportunities, research opportunities, but also funding opportunities on this page. Just some examples: environmental consultants, working for government, as well as private organizations, interns, ecologists, there's a whole range. But on the website itself, there's also a designated link that you must please go and visit with profile pages of our alumni. So this is actually what I want to tell you here. Please visit the various aspects, or rather links on this page. There's videos, there's documents, there's photographs, and we'll give you a bit more of a perspective of the program and what we are doing. And I'm just showing you a quick video of 4 of our undergraduate students that give a short glimpse of their perspective.
Hello, my name is Khomotsomoake and I am studying conservation. I'm from Johannesburg. I started studying conservation because I've always loved nature and I never thought that I would find or get the opportunity to work with it. And when I found out about conservation ecology, I jumped at the first opportunity and I love it.
How's it, everyone? My name's Keegan Stubbs. I grew up on a farm in the eastern highlands of Zimbabwe. I chose the Conservation Ecology course because of the fourth year honours inclusive. I didn't really feel like applying after third year for another honours year, and I really am looking forward to the project that I'll be doing next year. What I really enjoy about conservation ecology is the practical aspect, getting out into the field, working with nature, being able to get out of the classroom and get that practical experience. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. Thanks.
Goeiedag, mijn naam is Dervisha Engelbrecht, ik is van Perel. Die gedeelte wat ik van hou van de ecologie, die programma, is dat ons baie veldwerk het en ons kan in die natuur werk en ook die inhoud van die programma is baie gebaseerd, is baie relevant tot die volhoubaarheidscrisisse wat ons vandag in ons tyd het. Dankie.
Hi, I'm Alyssa from Brackenfell and I'm studying Conservation Ecology. The course content of the modules that you get from your second year onwards are super interesting, and now obviously third year. Your first year is very basic and general, but then you still have time to see where your interest really lies. The field work in the course is also super interesting. You learn every day something new, and that's the fun of it. Thank you.
Okay, so if you want to save the world, you're passionate about nature and want to make a difference, please contact us. If you have other general questions, you're also more than welcome to contact us. Thank you very much.